Our country is a unique nation, a unique form of government. It's different, and it's a tough form, and it puts the emphasis on every single individual. And that's something different than the rest of the world has, and we have been sort of set the example for the rest of the world. And it's because, I think that our form of government will thrive long-term in direct proportion to the number of people who take part in public affairs. I think that's fair to say. And certainly tonight here, we have two examples of this, of people who have really taken this idea of public service to the nth degree. And both of them are friends of ours, but they were picked for this. I'm glad that they were able to be in here with us tonight, and they were picked for this because of the expertise and dedication they've had to this country throughout their lifetimes. First, Erskine was co-founder with Alan of the Campaign to Fix the Public Debt, which is a nonpartisan movement to put America back on a fiscal and sound economic path. But they're also co-chairs of the Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform, which was formed in 2010 as a presidential commission. Erskine was formerly head of the Small Business Administration and was a former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, and then became Chief of Staff of the White House. And that is a big job, trying to run the White House. I can tell you that from a little bit I've been around that place. They did an excellent job over there. I aspired to that house at one time, but didn't quite make it. But anyway, Erskine did such an outstanding job, and I'm sure he'll remember some of the working together that a lot of us did back when he was putting together for the president the last time that we had a balanced budget in this country. And that was largely his handiwork back in those days when he worked together with the Republican House at that time. He's had an outstanding career, and is really an example, as Alan is too, I think, of carrying out what our motto is there in our school at Ohio State: inspire citizenship, develop leadership. And that's what we try to do. And there are two examples of people who have done exactly that, who have devoted much of their lives, not for pay, not to try and get paid for something, but because they believed in what this country stands for and what role they can play in making it even better into the future. Alan Simpson, I knew in the Senate where we first knew each other, and he was an outstanding senator. He was, as I said, as a co-founder with Erskine of the Campaign to Fix the Debt, as well as the Presidential Commission. He was Assistant Attorney General of the state of Wyoming in 1959, came from Wyoming, and was the city attorney for Cody, Wyoming. I'm sure that was a great experience for about 10 years. For about 10 years. He was elected to the Wyoming State Legislature as a state representative, and served that in that capacity for 13 years, rising to the office of Majority Whip, Majority Floor Leader, and Speaker Pro Tem. I knew him when he came to the United States Senate in 1978. He was reelected twice after that, and since over the last couple of years, they've been working on this national debt thing, and personal observation, I think what they came up with as a proposal for how we're going to get control of the debt in this country, I think is the best thing anybody's come up with. All the things that go on here on Capitol Hill with the politics and so on, we're just going to have to get some agreement. I'm sure that these two don't agree on everything politically. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican, has been for a long time. But they got together and came up with this thing and hammered it out between them, as we should have people doing right here on the Hill. I can just say of both of these people here, I don't know of any two people that epitomize more of what we're all about with the Glenn School there at Ohio State. They have devoted themselves to this. They have put forward what they believe, what I happen to believe also, is a plan that without, as Alan said a little while ago when I first came in, it must be pretty good because it made everybody a little bit mad. And I think that's a pretty good way to look at it too, because everyone's going to have to really do some contributing to this if we're going to get out of the mess that we're in right now. So they are good examples for our intern students that are here right now, and for our school also. To be honoring them is an honor for us to have people like you willing to come in and be here today. So.
I want to say a couple of things. First of all, about the introduction, and then I want to say how much it means to me to be a part of this. Anytime that somebody goes through this laundry list of things you've done in your life, you can't let it go to your head. And I want to tell you a story. I'm from North Carolina, and I remember when my Uncle Sam, who lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, passed away. And when he died, the obituary editor of the Greensboro Daily News called up to ask about him. And my aunt kind of went on and on like Senator Glenn did about Alan and me. And after a few minutes, the obituary editor said, "Now, Miss Bowles, you do know that we now charge. We charge $5 a word for every word that's in the obituary." She said, "Oh, no, I didn't know that." And she said, "In that case, just put in there, Sam died." This is a true story, but that's not even the funny part. He said, "Well, Miss Bowles, we'd really like to do that, but you see, we have this 5-word minimum." Oh, she said, "Oh, my goodness." She said, "In that case, put in there, Sam died, Cadillac for sale." Alan and I have been on the road for 20 days. I'm sure that's what our wives are going to do to us. The other thing that I thought about when the senator was going through the introduction was when he talked about, being president of a university. People ask me all the time, Senator, what was it like for a business guy like you to be president of a great big public university? And I said, well, I'll tell you exactly what it was like. It was like being the CEO of a cemetery. You've got lots of people underneath you, but ain't nobody listening. So I have spent my time in purgatory. I'm not going back to the university. I want to tell you, to see my name up here with John Glenn, for somebody my age, I'm telling you, I literally have chills now. I can't tell you what this man has meant to this country. I've looked up to him, I've admired him, I've respected him. I wanted him to be president so bad. I worked my heart out to get him to do it. I think that's why he said those nice things about me. But this is a great American. And for Al and me to have... For Al and me to have a chance to be associated with the Glenn School and with John Glenn is an honor I could never repeat. The school asked me to say one word about why we got involved in public service. And for me, it's kind of easy. And I think you, Glenn interns, this will come home to you. When I was about your age, my dad was getting a big award in North Carolina for the public service he had done. And he was supposed to make one of these great big long speeches. But he went up to the microphone and he said simply, "Thank you. I really appreciate this a lot." But then he looked at my 2 sisters and me and he said, "But I don't want you to judge me based on what I have done." He said, "I want you to judge me based on what my children do for others." And if you're our age, that's like, knocks you over. But on the way home that night, we asked him about it. And he said, "I believe I'm a product of the great values I got from my parents and the great education I got at Chapel Hill. And, what I've done is a great reflection on them. And what you do, and especially what you do for others, will be a a reflection on your mama and me. And he said, in the Old South, we always used to go out and chop logs in the wintertime for our family. But on the way home, we would throw a few logs onto the community woodpile. And he said, my belief is all of us have a responsibility to add to the community woodpile. And he said it doesn't matter if you're to the right of Jesse Helms or to the left of Gore Vidal. All of us can find the time and take the time and make the effort to make this world a better place. And that's why I joined Al in this effort. That's why I've tried to do the other things I've done. And while I accept this award, I really do accept it on behalf of my parents. Thank you so much.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard the story about Sam died. And I have to sit at podiums all over America going, I'm glad Sam's dead. No, let me tell you. Did you see what you saw there? And I haven't talked to Erskine about my few remarks, or he to me. But I think you can see one thing, and you will when I'm through too. It's the only way you get something done is with humor. And this community, this city is humorless right now. Washington has lost its humor. And when that's gone, you remember the days, John, of Mo Udall and great guys, you had it always. Humor is the universal solvent against the abrasive elements of life. Don't ever forget that. How do you think Warren Buffett gets along by sandbagging everybody in America? Because he's got a tremendous sense of humor and a great skill and a marvelous ability to negotiate. I don't have that. Erskine certainly does, but humor, I commend it to you. It's a very critical important part of life. Well, this is a treat for me. I don't think you know what it meant to both of us when we were told that this award was to be presented, because effectively we've PO'd so many people in the United States that there are, if you know of any pockets of people that we haven't irritated, if you will just leave a note, and we will get out of the witness protection program and move on to a new location. But I want to say something about two people. I want to say something about Annie and John. After the great space adventure, and I'm one just like Erskine, I mean the whole world was enraptured by this great adventure. And I thought, wow, someday I hope I meet that guy. Well, and then to be able to work with him in the U.S. Senate was a great joy of life. But after the whole world, he was endeared, but by her too, because Annie was on television a great deal during those years. And all over the world, there they were. But there is a crush that comes with adulation. They somehow got tied up with a guy from Wyoming, and he said, where can we go to get away? He said, we know a place. And of course, there is a lot of room there, 97,000 square miles, and there's only 550,000 of us, so we don't really give a damn about how many people come in. So they lined up and went to Jackson, Wyoming with a gal named Eileen Hunter, and Lynn and the brother too, and they just hid out a week in the wilderness with just the horses and the campsite. Nope, that's it. It was a great time of renewal and refreshment for them, and they came back several years after that too, I know. Eileen Hunter was hard to describe, but let me tell you, Calamity Jane would have been an equal to her. Now, what I saw in John when I came to the Senate was in adulation and, a little bit of idol worship. What the hell, why not admit it? That he was very fair, very firm, very friendly, and when I got there, he was most receptive to me because he knew I was from Wyoming. That was my grandparents' homestead, great-grandparents, Jackson. And I was very pleased by the way he treated me in a kindly way. I watched him work. I joined in the admiration and respect. If there's one word on his epitaph, it's respect. You'd want him on your side, too. And I watched that one with Dirk Kempthorne. That was a long haul on a piece of legislation which was critical. And Dirk was a brand new freshman, and the old pro took him all the way through that with an honest mentoring. And Dirk would come back to the caucus saying, now, Senator Glenn and I are working on this, and some of the cynics would say, oh, God, watch out. Somebody say, forget it. And it was a joy. It was an inspiration to all of us in the Senate. So with this gentle giant making this award to us is a great treat. As for me, you've heard why I got into the game. Dad was a legislator and a governor and a U.S. senator, so it was easy for me, an easy trail to follow. And I watched them both very carefully, and my mother was the First Lady of Wyoming, the governor's wife. All through those years, they never changed a bit. And I thought, you can do this without changing. But you also want to remember, if politics is your single goal in life, that is a barbaric goal. Because you have to have the softening agents of life, music, books, theater, all those things, the wilderness. So don't ever just say, boy, politics, I just can't wait to be in politics. But public service is not politics. It can be, but that's the same symbol that I taught at Kennedy School right there, to inspire and to lead. Leaders take a lot of flack. If you're a leader, you're going to take a lot of punching around because the tallest tree gets the most wind. And I know I'm 6'7", I've been there. And so anyway, I watched him. I can share to you that people say, well, you're brilliant. Erskine called me that one night, and I really laughed one night on the podium. But I worked hard. And the only reason I worked hard, you'll be stunned, was so that I wouldn't make an ass out of myself. But I still did on several occasions, but that's not the point. I'm not brilliant. I'm not. But boy, I tell you, I knew what I had to do, and you have to do your homework. You have to be persistent. And watch out for those people who come to you and use arguments of emotion, fear, guilt, and racism because they've run out of facts. When they run out of facts, you use emotion, fear, guilt, or racism to pass or kill a piece of legislation. So watch out for those people. I would say that. And finally, an attack unanswered is an attack believed. A lot of politicians forget that, and they're not here to talk about it. That doesn't mean that you're not entitled to be called a fool, boob, idiot, screwball, and worse, but never let them distort who you are. This man has never let anybody distort who he is. He has never allowed anyone to distort who he is. When I worked on immigration, someone would say that I was a bigot. I struck at the heart. They say, are you going to get down on their level? I said, watch. You don't ever let people distort who you are. Well, with all those tips, I have a final one that's very earthy, but very important. Never let your face show how hard they're kicking your ass. Don't forget that one. I know you're not listening, but people will come at you to unnerve you and throw you off. And you have to play the theater. Because if they know they got you, you've been got. A terrible thing. I learned it in the practice of law. And remember another thing, hatred corrodes the container it's carried in. That's a good one. And finally, Erskine does not jab my leg, but here it is. Someone said, Simpson, you are a curmudgeon. Well, I said, I hope a benign curmudgeon. And I looked up the word in the dictionary, and I will accept it. It says, anyone who hates hypocrisy and pretense and has the temerity to say so, or anyone with the habit of pointing out unpleasant facts in an engaging and humorous way. And that is why I have joined the ranks of curmudgeon. But I want to tell you, I've joined the ranks of the people who received this award in the past and have it with my friend Erskine, because this guy is a jewel. He's real. And the two of us, in our arduous task, do have a hell of a lot of fun. So, Annie, John, Lynn, thank you very, very much.